Sure, man, so lechon so say na ya yoshvi b'shmai min khine banu min yad nenem ken shifra yad v'tokei nenu ladenu lehinat shchnenu chonenu adonai chonenu kirav suvanavuz rabas sovelanav sheina lagashalan mabuz ligei yoinim. Please God, be gracious, be gracious. It's time. As we are standing now in the last moments before Pesach, getting ready to the last little preparations, we are not losing our hope, and we're saying to Hashem, although in Eretz Yisrael is already much later, it's Sun Yontiv, but we are not losing hope. We're still hoping and expecting today to be able to bring the Korban Pesach, the Paschal Lamb, and have the ultimate Pesach, the way it is supposed to be. Not just commemorating the past, not just commemorating the coming out of Egypt then, but expressing and joyfully experiencing the coming out of Egypt today. Yes, now. Eibishter, we are not giving up. We've seen phenomenal miracles, and we thank Hashem for every single one of them. But we are not contenting ourselves with that. We want the miracle, which becomes part of our reality, and that is the revelation of Mashiach. So please God, now. And in fact, as I just mentioned, not celebrating the past, but celebrating the present, the future which becomes the present, is really the whole theme of Pesach, of the Seder of Pesach. Let us look at a number of the practices. First of all, it's all around the kids. The whole Seder is built around children asking, responding. We're doing all kinds of things to keep the kids awake, and so on and so forth. The reason? Because it reminds us the past and it reminds us the present and the future. The kids extremely suffered. They were tremendously part of the suffering of Egypt. Pharaoh wanted to kill them physically, spiritually. When they were short of the daily quota of building, they would take kids and plaster them into the walls. Pharaoh, his doctors, Hamas doctors, told him to bathe themselves every day, to bathe himself for his skin discomfort in fresh blood of Jewish children. So the children were a complete part of the suffering. But they are our future. When it came out from Egypt, they were the first one to point. We know this is God. We've seen him. He raised us in the woods. As the Medrash tells us, the women would give birth and they would hide the kids in the woods, and the angels would come and protect them and raise them and care for them. So when it came to the splitting of the sea, they pointed with a finger, this is our God. We're old friends. We know each other. So it reminds us the suffering as well as the redemption. And it is it's thanks to the children that we have our future, we have our salvation, we have our security. Now let's look at, we're supposed to eat matzah. We're obligated to eat matzah. For that matter, let me point it out. The matzah has to be shmura matzah, hand-baked matzah. And each person at the Seder should eat, and now I'm talking the very bare minimum, approximately between a quarter and a third of such hand matzah when we say the bracha. We can do the bracha, the first blessing, Amoitzi lechem en haaretz, and alachilas matzah. We might need to do more, but I'm giving you the minimum. So everybody has to eat the matzah. Now the matzah reminds us of what? Bread of poverty. But it also reminds us that's the bread we ate when we came out of Egypt. Suffering, hope. Exile, exodus. The moror, the bitter herbs. Now we know exactly what this represents. But how do we eat it? We're supposed to dip it into the charoises, into that sweet mix. Everybody has their custom to transform the bitterness into sweetness. But this charoises itself has a dual meaning. It looks like the mortar that the Jews had to create and build with in Egypt. But at the same time, we're making it sweet. The karpas, I'm not going specifically in the order of the Haggadah, I'm just pointing out different practices. When we take that vegetable. Either would be a celery, it would be a potato, Chabad would be an onion. We dip it in the salt water. What's the salt water all about? Obviously the tears that were shedding by the Jewish people, but at the same time, the splitting of the sea. Exile, Exodus. And like this we go through the entire Seder. We drink the 4 cups of wine, which express the 4 expressions of redemption. But we want it red, reminding us the blood that was spilled. But red wine is the wine of luxury. Yain is samach, leiv Hashem banoshim. Wine is what gives us happiness. So the Seder is an experience of telling the story of the past, experiencing the present, and realizing that we're living these moments of miracles with the hope that, please God, now